Before we get into today's video, I'd like to ask you a question. Have you ever thought about making money for game mastering? If you have, go to GameShopsBasement.com. There's a banner ad at the top that can take you some more information about learning how to do just that. And now, on with our feature presentation. Greetings, gamers. Here at the Game Shop's Basement, we are hoping that so far you have had a wonderful holiday season. It is Tuesday, December 28th, 2021, the Tuesday between Christmas and New Year's this year. So folks have been asking, actually they were asking for a couple of weeks now, if I was going to do some sort of one-shot special holiday-themed game. And I got inspired to do so. I hadn't really thought about doing it until they mentioned it. But as soon as they mentioned it, I thought, well, what would I do for a holiday game? And the answer just instantly flooded into my mind. It was just like, oh, yeah, Rift Santa Claus. So this New Year's Eve, this Friday, just a few days from now, December 31st, and I will put the link below in the description for this video to register, we're going to do Rift Santa Claus as a one-shot, possibly, if people like it, into an ongoing Rifts campaign. So I know D&D is the big thing, but D&D just doesn't have Rift Santa Claus. So we're going to talk a little bit about the format here. So first of all, the game isn't D&D, it's Rifts. And most people are not going to know Rifts or how to play or what the dice are like or anything like that. Because D&D is just the huge game. I talk to people every day on Discord for Game Shop's Basement, and if I made a pie graph of all the people that I talk to every day, somewhere between half and 2/3 of them have never played D&D at all. And or maybe some of them have played like once or twice, but they're looking for like a regular campaign table or regular group. So more people are coming into D&D, into our tabletop gaming hobby than ever before in its almost 50-year history now. I think 2024 is supposed to be the 50th year history of D&D. So D&D is dominant, probably always will be, but there are other games. And so the way I look at this is the idea that there are other games is kind of usually like a more advanced idea for the veteran gamer to realize that, oh, I could play Star Wars this way, I could play Marvel Universe this way, I could play DC Universe this way, I could play Star Trek Universe this way. There's all these other franchises, there's all these other games like Rifts and Shadowrun. But most people are just interested in D&D because they're new, they're just getting introduced, and D&D is the starter game, probably always will be. And so so I look at it as like coffee. It's the difference between somebody who goes to Starbucks and wants some sort of special frou-frou coffee, cappuccino latte grande with the special swirl and the soy milk, and just, they've got this little formula, and they're very advanced and experienced in their taste of what they like. Compared to somebody that just needs a caffeine hit, and they'll walk into McDonald's and say, "Caffeine, black, now. Inject it straight into my vein, please." So there's people that just need the game. They just need to get exposed to D&D and get started. And then there's some more advanced people that are noticing that, oh, there's other types of games out there. That's the way I look at it. It's kind of like coffee. So I think understanding that there's other kinds of games is just a more advanced thing. So but Rifts has Santa Claus. That's what we're getting to. So because not so many people are going to be familiar with Rifts, I'm going to provide pre-generated characters for New Year's Eve for the party. And if this turns into something people like, and if they want to keep playing Rifts, Then, hey, learn this, knock yourself out, learn the system, make your own character. But just so that we can all jump in and play on New Year's Eve for the special one shot, I'm going to have some pre-dens ready. And so I'm going to kind of close out this video then with a little bit about Rifts and a little bit about Rift Santa Claus so that you can decide if this sounds fun to you. So Rifts in general, then Rift Santa Claus. Rifts in general. Rifts in general takes place in a far, 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 far future. So far in the future, there's been multiple cataclysms and apocalypses. So the people that exist on the earth in that time period, they're not even sure what year it would be by our standards. It reminds me, since the new Matrix movie came out and I went back and watched the old Matrix movies, there's that scene in the original one where Morpheus is telling Neo, you think it's 1999. The truth is it's probably closer to 2199, but we don't really know because we've lost any way to keep track. So in Rifts, it's way far out there in the future. And thousands of years in the future, people in those civilizations don't even know what year it would be by our standards. And in Rifts, magic has returned to the world in a major, major, major way. Much more magic than D&D. We're talking like godlike levels of magic, but also many of the societies that existed between now and that future developed high levels of technologies. And so Rift basically has everything from mechs to mages and, computers and psionics and basically everything you ever thought of for fantasy and stuff you never thought of is in Rifts. So Rift is just this. There's a saying that I've seen on several different blogs, and I've actually heard people talk about in game stores that they've quoted it. They've said Rifts is the greatest game that people collect because the books are cool, but nobody ever plays. And I have a huge Rifts library, and I read a Rifts book like it's a novel. I get so much enjoyment out of it, like it's a novel, even though it's not. I'm just reading the expansion of that part of the world they expanded on. But it is a huge game. I have played it. I've done Rifts campaigns before. It's really cool, but it's big. It's big. That's all I got to say. So Rift Santa Claus. Rift Santa Claus. Well, I mentioned that in Rifts, magic returned to the world at godlike levels of power. So in Rifts, in the grave or the tomb of the original St. Nicholas guy, like the historical St. Nicholas guy in Rifts, a lot of magic is based on belief and faith, especially the belief and faith of millions or billions of people. And so when magic flooded back to Rift's Earth at godlike levels of magic, some of that magic went into the grave or the tomb of the original historical St. Nicholas and infused him with the power of people's belief in Christmas and Santa Claus. And, not necessarily innocent belief that there really is a Santa Claus like a little kid would have, but also even adults' belief in the spirit of Christmas and what Santa Claus stands for and what Santa Claus should be and what Christmas should be about and all those wonderful, positive, uplifting, good things and feelings. And so St. Nicholas basically became Santa Claus in Rifts is like a demigod. But Rifts is also very, very dark and twisted. Almost everything in Rifts is dark and twisted and Lovecraftian. So even a lot of beings in Rifts and organizations or societies or countries, or gods, or a lot of things in Rifts that portray themselves as the good guys actually aren't. They're full of crap, and they're actually deceit. That's like a running gag or a running theme in Rifts is that even the stuff that seems to be on the side of the light in Rifts is usually lying. And now there are true beings of the light in Rifts, but they're pretty rare. And so it's pretty hard as a player character or an NPC or somebody who lives in the Rift universe. It's pretty hard to tell the difference between people who say they're good and really are, and people who say they're good and they're just full of crap. But things are just twisted and dark in Rifts. Well, Santa Claus is really good in Rifts. The problem is he snapped and went psycho because Rifts is dark. So in Rifts, like I said, it's Lovecraftian. So there's a lot of demonic invasions. There's a lot of cosmic horror going on. You know, a lot of places in the world are just besieged with horrible, horrible horror movie evil. And so you got this new Santa Claus, you know, the original Saint Nicholas, who got risen from his grave and imbued with demigod-like Santa Claus power. He goes out to try to do his Christmas run. And he comes upon this village where these demons are just slaughtering this town. And Santa Claus snaps, goes a little bit crazy. And so Santa Claus in Rifts is a good guy, but he's a crazy good guy. He's gone postal. And so he has this group, an organization called the Yule Guard. And the Yule Guard, they dress like elves. They fight with like candy cane themed weapons, but they are bad. Like really, really tough. So my premise for the Friday night holiday game is that the player characters will be a unit of the Yule Guard. And it's just psycho crazy holiday weird fantasy magical Christmas fun. And so that's for the one shot. If people are open to a Rifts campaign, as we flip the calendar from December 2021 into January 2022, start the new year, if Rifts seemed fun and people wanted to have ongoing Rifts tables, I'm totally open to that. But so for a holiday game, like people were asking for, I can't think of anything I'd rather do than Rift Santa Claus. So I'll put the link in the description below, and not only to our game, but I'll put a link to some Rift websites where you can kind of find out what Rift is like, see if you think you'd like it or something. Yeah, we'll see you there. Let the fun, silly, psycho Santa Christmas Rift silliness commence. All right. That's all for today, and we'll see you folks in game.